Now, one of the things you hear people say very often in terms of his legacy is that this is a man who came on 5 pillars. And the pillars are probity, accountability, transparency, social justice, and integrity. Now, the question for many is, did he fulfill this or even live by these himself? And there are those who feel that no, he didn't live by them because he carried out certain human rights abuses in the way that he did them. There are some who even believe that he amassed wealth for himself, although till date, people have not been able to prove that against him. And so he instilled that kind of discipline in terms of integrity into public office. He's also a man who brought some dignity to the ordinary people, because this is a man who was a man of the people, because he could go into the gutters and clean. He could go onto the rail tracks and build the rail lines with people for food to be transported from the hinterlands. He would take off his shirt and do all this and command people with his baritone voice and that kind of energy and exuberance. People really fell in love with him. So he also whipped out a certain discipline in the country, especially in the youth. And you could see that that discipline background was from the military, because you know the military is a place for discipline. And he kind of instilled that in Ghanaian people at the time of his rule. But also some will tell you that, well, it was more of fear rather than discipline. And so people feared him, because if you could succeed in 2 coups, then obviously you are that seen like a caricature or a monstrous figure. And so some people feel all that was more of fear for him. And that is why when he left the scene after nearly 19 years, people feel that the country is worse or the same as it was when he claimed to have redeemed the country, because they believe that he didn't build the right building blocks in terms of institutional capacity, and that it was more of his strength. And so when he left the scene, nothing really has changed. Today, people will tell you that corruption may be worse than it was before when Rawlings carried out his coup. And so it's been a mix of many things.
In 1979, he will be remembered as a selfless patriot who led a house cleaning exercise within the military, although unfortunately it spilled over into the civilian world, and he readily handed over power. In 1981, he rode on the back of leftist agitation. Within 1 year, in the Bonapartist fashion, got rid of his allies and brought the full force of the new labor market into our country, which was characterized by economic recovery programs, structural adjustment, redundancy, closure of factories, etc., etc. In 1992, he brought constitutional rule, which has reinforced the neoliberal paradigm in our country. He was populist. He could identify himself with the people, but his economic policies and his political policies earlier on was not the right thing for our country. It was a good legacy.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a great pleasure talking about the life of Jerry Rawlings. Thank you.